Hi there. Welcome to the full moon. Get ready. Full moon in Scorpio is always a big one. It doesn't get deeper than a Scorpio moon. Why? Well, Scorpio is the truth teller. Scorpio digs to the bottom of the ocean, trying to get to that obsidian, that beautiful formation of lava under the sea. It's looking for the truth to set it free. And on its way, it finds many layers of illusion, of deception, of heartbreak, of ego, of trickster. So the Scorpio moon is showing us always some truth. And we'll take a look at the chart in a minute and see what things are supporting it and what things are challenging it. But that is the flavor of a Scorpio moon. Personally, as a medium and a truth teller myself, I like it. I like when people are real. So, and I don't judge if people have moments where they recognize something deep and scary and dark and taboo and something they've never said and something that they've needed to face and something that's honest that maybe they've admitted to themselves and they want to share it. Like, I never judge that stuff when people are being real. So, but most of society is scared of that. And so you get a lot of stress and tension and a lot of difficulty dealing with or knowing how to handle it when people are being real. So the only cautionary tale for me under a Scorpio moon is to be very discerning who you tell if you're feeling vulnerable, if something big is coming up. It's not to stop yourself from doing it. That's the healing work. It's to discern who is really able to hold space for it so that it is a healing moment, not a re-triggering, re-traumatizing moment, reliving something that happened in the past when you were ready to share an insight or a deep emotion and it wasn't met properly. So it can be a wonderfully healing full moon this time, but it can also be tricky. So let's take a look at the chart. But first of all, as usual, I just want to encourage you to like and subscribe and also share the videos. And also I'd like to invite you to join my Intuition Cafe on Facebook, which is free, where we speak about intuition and tips, and you just meet like-minded people, and I will prompt you with questions to help you with your intuition. Whether you want to share it publicly or not, it really doesn't matter. A lot of people don't, but you'll be prompted if you join the page. You'll be asked things that will stimulate your intuition. So please do that, and the links are down below in the comments. All right, so without further ado, let's take a look at this interesting chart. All right. So it's so interesting because this time of year they call it the flower moon, obviously because our flowers are blooming, and spring has risen and it's lovely. And the formation of the planets is interesting too, isn't it? Doesn't it sort of even look a bit like a flower this time? There's the center with all the petals and points. It's just missing a couple. Other than that, it's almost a perfect flower. So that doesn't happen every time. That's interesting to me. An interesting dynamic, right? The chart is like all over the place here. And we see our Scorpio moon down here at the bottom, right on the IC or Imium Coli. And this chart is drawn for, I still put it in New York, just because it's the biggest city in the Eastern time zone to put it in. That's the only reason. And I love New York. So based on that timing, for New York and the Eastern time zone. We've got the full moon falling on the Immium Coli. That is huge, okay? Any planet falling on one of the axes, whether it's the ascendant, descendant, medium coli, or MC, or midheaven, or IC, Immium Coli. That means that the major accents of your life are about to move. So that also means when you have the Sun and Uranus on the medium coli, or the midheaven, this is a biggie. This is a game-changing full moon, because often when something hits those 4 points, your rising sign, your physical body, your how you come across to people, how you are seen by others, the descendant, your partnerships and your relationships, the IC, your home, your roots, your family, where you live, the MC, your career, your public image. It all gets rocked around. One thing happens to one end and it kickstarts the entire chart usually. So a major period of change is likely about to begin. It's a stronger chart than previous ones, I would say, in terms of seeing a lot of movement. So you could also be going through a lot of changes. You might be ready to make some major decisions about where you live, about your family, about your career calling, your work. And those are the areas that are particularly accented because the moon is opposite the Sun Uranus exactly on them. But it will, by default, affect how you're seen and affect some of your relationships and partnerships. Anytime you make a big decision, it's going to affect all of it, right? If you announce that you're moving to Europe, people are going to, your friends and family are affected by that. You know, your work can shift, everything can shift when you make one big decision. So with the moon in Scorpio at the IC right down there on the family, this is a tough one, okay? This, yeah, anything that touches the 4th house brings up issues around your roots. So your family history. But it'll bring it up in terms of when it comes to Scorpio moon, it might bring out a secret. It might stir up old memories, childhood memories. It might stir up old traumas. And as I said, the Scorpio moon is supported by all the blue lines. So North Node in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, and Neptune in Aries are all supporting that moon in the 8th house, which is even more about secrets and taboos and things we don't normally talk about or say, and other people's money. However, this accent really feels to me like truth-telling. And so for all of us in this Eastern time zone, the truth-telling could be anything from coming out to one of your parents, you know, that you've always been hiding something about yourself or what you've been doing, or, you know, coming out of the closet. I'm not comfortable with the religion our family grew up with, Mom. Right? It's huge. I mean, we think of coming out of the closet always as being like admitting that, you know, sexual orientation, but it doesn't have to be. It can be anything that you have been holding inside that has affected you and the family dynamics. It could be anything. It could be, you know, like you might have a memory of when your dad like was mean to your cat when you were 5, and for some reason, it always affected you and you weren't comfortable around him with animals. And that might have started a thing in the family. It's like, why are you acting weird when dad is like walking the dog, you know? Or who knows? I'm being like, it sounds light, but it's not. When we're processing our lives and we're digging deeply and we're doing inner work, shadow work, healing work, you're going to uncover and remember old memories. And sometimes they were happening at an age when, as an adult, now you're like, that doesn't make sense. Why should I be upset? But that 4-year-old was upset for a good reason. And you're carrying it in your fascia, you know, you're carrying it in your cells, in your aura, in your pain body. You know, this is the level of work that we're doing. So you might not be actively coming out or saying anything to family or them to you during this transit, but you might be reliving old things and memories and processing it, and you might just want to share it with a good friend, your therapist, or if you can share it with your family. Be a really healing time if these truths come out. But like I said, Scorpio moon is like all about the shadowy, taboo, difficult, like the most difficult stuff you can think of. So this is not usually a light secret. You know, this is the kind of moon that can admit that, you know, your dad was having an affair when you were 2 years old and we never told anybody. We got over it, but yeah, it was going on while you were little and it rocked our world. That's the kind of secret. Or somebody says, yeah, grandpa was drinking in the closet and then he came out and you're like, what? Grandpa was an alcoholic? I didn't know that. I never saw him drinking because he hid it. You know, this is the kind of level of secrecy with a Scorpio moon. It'll deal with passions because it's Scorpio. It'll deal with sex and drugs and alcohol and taboo, or let's say, you know, fetishy, deviant behavior. You name it. If it's dark, it can come out of the closet. I find it sort of interesting that already, you know, I'm making this video on Friday. The full moon is Monday. Yesterday, they announced the new Pope, Pope Leo. And already today, something has come out in the news saying that there's already been a scandal around him because he did not handle the sexual abuse cases in 2 different countries very well. So that is a very deep, dark Scorpio moon type of thing to happen, right? Sexual abuse scandals coming out right away. We'll see how this lands and plays out for him, but this is the level of work, okay? And then, as I mentioned, the moon is trine the North Node in Pisces. So North Node in Pisces is all about compassion and knowing that everybody on the planet suffers or has some stories like this somewhere around them. Nobody comes into this life free of some sort of pain or tragedy or addiction or something. We all have it somewhere in our families, or in our extended families, our neighbors, our friends. I don't think you go through life untouched, or not many of us. And so the North Node in Pisces asks you to really have faith and have compassion and understand that everybody suffers. And that's a higher awareness than, you know, than when people are wearing their masks and pretending and acting like they're all great and fine because they're running off to their this and that's with their money or whatever they're doing that makes it seem like they have no problems. You have to remember, no, they still have pain. They still have problems. They might have more money than you, but they still have pain and problems and secrets in their closet, because everybody does. The North Node in Pisces is just going to sort of go, right, like, don't get upset. This person is whatever, they're presenting themselves a certain way, their mask or their grandstanding or whatever they're trying to do, but they're doing it to mask a lot of pain. And so to remember that, you know, to have compassion for that. So as these secrets come out, or as people get in touch with things, that we're not so easy. Ooh, pardon me. We have to remember to have a lot of compassion for the human condition. So the fact that these are trining each other is a very nice thing. It's going to help facilitate a lot of truth to come out and to have intimate heart-to-heart conversations about them, or really deep work with your therapist, or even with your own self, with meditation, or with a shamanic session, or something that deep dream work as well. Like the 8th house can certainly rule dreams. So you might dream some of your memories and truths, The next thing trining it, helping it out, is Saturn in Pisces. Same lesson, same message, that we're all one and we all have pain and suffering in our lives. But Saturn is just a harsher aspect because it's the life lesson. And so it might resist being, it might be cynical and isolate itself versus opening itself to connecting that everybody has pain in their lives. It might just not want to deal with it. It's too much. Or sometimes Saturn can go to the other extreme, where they're marinating in everybody's tragedies, and it becomes really heavy and weighted and sort of maudlin. Nothing gets healed. It just stays stuck. Saturn in Pisces is here to learn to have a strong sense of inner guidance and inner faith that lights up their life, so that they don't spend their lives feeling down and weighted and saturated by the problems of the world. But they're also not running away and escaping it either. They just know how to see it and hold space for it, but still have faith and hope in life. So we're navigating, really cynical times, I find, really difficult times. And a lot of people lately, excuse me, throat's dry. A lot of people lately have been saying to me that they feel the recent, the threats to sovereignty from Trump towards other countries, including Canada. The tariffs, the recklessness going on in the US government right now is on a spiritual level. It's because it's shifted once again the way we see, well, the US as being sort of like a parent to the world, an anchor to trust. And that in itself can be a moon in Scorpio 4th house moment too. Where's your anchor? Who's the daddy, so to speak? Who can you count on? So this kind of global shift brings up a lot of old issues for everybody. If you had any kind of difficulty in your own childhood with trust, or with feeling safe, or with feeling rooted or protected where you live. If you had a parent who was strong at the helm, leading the family, that like the voice of reason, like an adult, more like what we see in Mark Carney, or whether you had more of a chaotic, unpredictable household. And if you did, then either way, these energies are really destabilizing, and they can have an effect on your outlook on life and outlook on people, your feeling of safety in the world, your willingness to connect to others, your ability to trust others despite what's going on. So a lot of things about these Pisces planets really accent seeing the suffering, but also still having faith. Now, interestingly, I'm going to come over here. because Mars in Leo, they are saying it makes an aspect to Saturn. That's a little bit of a stretch to me because of the number of degrees is 13. It's a little wide, but I trust this site, so I'm going to go with it. So Mars is making a trine to Saturn, Mars in Leo. However, it's in the 12th house. Complex, yet again. Mars in Leo is like a celebrity, a rock star, a warrior. They've got passion and high energy and drama, and they want to go out there and be big and be loud and be seen. They want to have fun. They're going to tell you off if they need to. They're not going to let you use them. They're not going to let you play games with them. You know, they're going to command respect, but it's in the 12th house where it's hidden energy. So once again, there is a certain courageousness in the air with Mars and Leo, but it's hidden in the 12th house, making it harder to do that perhaps outwardly or in public, but behind closed doors. So therefore, if you're behind closed doors, if you're one-to-one and you're working out these things, these deep secrets and taboos and feelings that are coming up, memories that are coming up, and this is a really gutsy angle to have Mars supporting Saturn North Node, and then it sort of ricochets around and it supports the moon in a weird kind of way. So because the moon and the Mars are not squaring, they're too far apart. If they were squaring, then there'd be a lot more conflict and tension and opposition to you bringing anything up or talking about things. But they're not squaring. Mars is giving you a bit of courage to talk about things, a bit of boldness to bring things up. Mars in the 12th house could also mean dreams and nightmares. Restlessness, very restless. A lot of hidden, stored up anger and stored up passion, waiting to burst. So there's a buildup and there's a desire to get to the bottom of things, and there's some strength and guts to let it come out. Now, Mars is also trine Neptune in Aries, and so is the moon. So this is in a weird way where things converge the most. Neptune and Aries. So, you know, idealizing the self, your ideal you, your warrior side, who you wish to be. Neptune trine the moon can bring you to altered states, to heightened awareness. And having it in the 8th house, again, will you get some enormous insights into your life, into others. This is like psychic level or psychologist level awareness or insights into yourself or into others. Thing with Neptune is you have to be a little careful just of not like taking it too far or idealizing it. But Neptune is usually a planet that represents things that can be really difficult to see and name. You know, things that are spiritual, that are esoteric, that are elusive, that are smoke and mirrors. And so this is so potent. I can't tell you how potent this is, man. Your ability to see through the smoke and mirrors and call them out right now is very high. I think that's amazing. How freeing, how liberating is that? Now, depends how you're going to do it. So let's just watch the news over the next few days to a week and see, does anyone start calling out deception or smoke and mirrors? Does anyone start revealing secrets and things going on behind the scenes? Are people starting to wake up more and more and more? I'd say yes. So the next thing we have going on is that Uranus and the Sun in Taurus also, even though they're opposing the moon, they're supporting they're supporting North Node, Saturn, and Neptune. So this is complex yet again. Uranus likes to be free, erratic, spontaneous, combustive, innovative. You cannot hold Uranus down. It wants to go where it wants to go. And if you try to contain it, it will break it. But it's in Taurus, and the Sun is in Taurus, and they want things to be slow and steady, grounded, stable, predictable. Thank you very much. So when you've got Uranus conjunct the Sun in Taurus, you have a big pull. You have a desire for things to be stable and secure, but not in the way they used to be. And we don't know what that's going to look like. And with Uranus and the Sun at the midheaven in Taurus, right on Algol, which is like this sort of malefic fixed star. What the heck kind of announcement is coming next here, outwardly? What unpredictable direction is coming next, is going to be announced next? Could it be, with your career? Could it be with your finances? Could it be on the global level? Could the US, or Canada just announce something that just goes sideways from what we thought before? It's all possible with the Sun Uranus there. Opposing the moon. The moon is representing the fourth house, which would be representing in a country sense, would represent the people, versus this would be the outward stance, or the authority, or the international relation. Whatever this Sun Uranus announces or does, it takes another erratic turn. It will be opposed by the people. If this is going on within yourself, this will make you perhaps torn enough between two poles of what you want, what you think would be great to do to change and shift your life up, and the fear of doing it. But if this is outward, and this is about countries or cities or states, or, where there's like an outward authority, like a government, this would represent the people. And there will be a lot of opposition to whatever this is. And most of the support is on the moon for the people. Whereas if you look at the South Node, which represents where we're coming from in the past, the South Node supports this announcement or this change. So this is, again, tricky. If we're talking about countries and states and stuff, some shift of tone, shift of authority, shift of identity in the world. Something that's very public, very outward, that's going to be rock and roll. Supported by the South Node sort of means, to me, it harkens to the past. It preserves the past. It's not about the new generation. It's about going back to what we have, to something that we've wanted before. Pluto also does support Uranus and the Sun here too. Supports Uranus, not the Sun. But, you know, Uranus is sitting right on Algol. It's very, whatever gets unleashed, it's a mixed bag. It's like the Pluto in Aquarius should be going towards something different, something new, something that is for the people. But Uranus and the Sun might do something or try to bring things back and turn back time and turn back the clock, and is supported by the South Node. So you have a really intense kind of standoff because Mars in Leo is also opposing Pluto. The nodal axis always opposes itself, so that's just sort of normal. Mars and Pluto are squaring Mercury, which is also now in Taurus. There's going to be opposition to whatever communications come out, whatever you say, whatever you write about. There's going to be something launched or let go, or, you know, dropped in the water, let's say, or, you know, it can feel like anything from you know, something exciting but scares people. They want to grab on and hang on to the way it was done before. It's too scary, it's too new. Or it can be some, again, as we've seen with Mr. Trump, it can just be some willy-nilly wild card thing that he does to throw everything off all over again. The difference here is that there's so much opposition to it. There's some support, but there's a lot of opposition. And so, to me, this chart really looks like, okay, on a personal level, getting to a level of personal revolution where you're ready to take a bold risk, whether that means coming out with something so that you can heal, confronting things, making announcements that are a little bit wake and shake up because nobody expected you to do X or Y or Z. These are all coming. But when it's personal, it's harder to do that, right? So it doesn't mean everybody will be doing that or is ready to do that, but it might really be on your mind. You might really feel like, I need a new life. I just don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do next. How can I, you know, how can you start being happier? What decisions, what, you know, what risks maybe need to be taken so that you move your life forward and heal, or literally move your life forward by leaving something. But on a global stage, we're likely to see it happen, whether this, it's hard, maybe it won't be the States, maybe it'll be another country. And then we are all responding to it, but whatever it is, it's at the top of the chart. We will all know about it. And there's lesser aspects here in green that we don't talk about much, but they make an impact as well. So you see the green dotted lines. those are quincunx. So that's 150-degree angle. And it basically is a point of tension. It's like when two things go, you know, they sort of scrape each other. So that's irritating. It's like, it adds to the overall feeling of frustration building up without it being so obvious maybe where it's coming from. But the moon in Scorpio is quincunx to Chiron and Aries. So it's like telling your truth, getting in touch with your deeper self, and communicating, your powerful changes and insights. And then Chiron and Aries is like this wound of yourself. And so there's a little bit of like gnawing doubt there, like, okay, I believe this is true, but oh, should I share it? Because what if there's something wrong with me? Maybe I didn't look at everything right. Maybe what if it's my fault kind of feeling, And then you've got the moon also quincunx Jupiter in Gemini. So that might look like, oh, well, I've come to this amazing insight about my childhood and about who I am and why I've done the things I've done. And I want to share this with somebody. And then Jupiter and Gemini comes along and it's like, or maybe that was maybe this, or maybe it was that, or maybe I should, or there's this person too, or maybe, and it starts to add more and more and more and more and more possibilities, which distracts from the truth telling, right? Like if you finally feel like, oh, I know now, I see through this person, and then you meet 5 people that go, oh, they're so great, and then you're like, right? Do you go back into weighing it all over again? Or do you trust that strong truth that you got and just go, oh, well, these other few people, maybe they don't see it yet, but it doesn't mean you're wrong. The moon in Scorpio needs to see its truth and hold its position and then decide what to do with it. So it's a very interesting chart this time, isn't it? Let's take a look at some cards to add a little bit of details to this. All right. What else do we need to know about this full moon? What else can we expect in this full moon chapter here? So it is Monday, the 12th, 12:26 p.m. Just so you know. All right. So the first card we get here is Virtue. 3 of Wands. What can we expect? Well, Virtue is a great card to get. Again, it really emphasizes, being virtuous is being, having a correct, balanced thinking, morality, and being true to yourself, but also harming no one, right? So that's interesting guidance too, because sometimes when our healing moments happen and we want to tell and expose, they are messy. They are very messy. So the Virtue card would suggest that you sit with this a bit first. And you make sure that when you do speak of it, or the way you present yourself, that you do it in a way that is true to you without harming others, which takes an art, really. That's artful communication. Okay, our second card is the moon. So definitely there are, again, secrets to be seen and to be revealed. The moon hides things. The moon, is very good at smoke and mirrors, making one thing look like another, avoiding and evading questions. So again, you might be in a position where you're saying, hey, this is my truth. This is what happened. And somebody goes, oh, I never said that. And you're like, we're not talking about what you said. I'm telling you what happened to me. And they go, oh, but I didn't say that. And you're stuck in the gaslighting. That's the moon card too. But the virtue card can hold its own with the moon. Just take a look at the presidential visit with Mark Carney and Trump. Carney was masterful. He held himself very much like the virtue card. He was quiet. He didn't lose himself or his center. He handled the smoke and mirrors and the gaslighting extremely well, didn't he? He didn't bite, the conflict and he didn't allow any projection so that he got mad and then there could be this reactive abuse going on where it's like, no, you made us say this, and right? That didn't happen. So take that as a good example of how to deal with difficult things and difficult people right now. Sit back, be quiet, observe. Don't lose yourself into what you see. Don't doubt yourself. Insert yourself very strategically. And when you do, even if it's a few words, they are true words. Ah, lovely. And the Justice card. Wow. Wow. So whatever you're coming out with, whatever you're sharing, whatever you're saying, it's coming up for you that needs to be, I'm going to use an even bigger word with this combination of cards. This feels like there is a reckoning going on. Yeah. Reckoning, because it's to do with a deeper justice. So it's not about one person's personal grievances so much. It is bigger than that. Very interesting. All right. Let's go to the readings for your sign now. Wow, that's so powerful, this chart. Let's just see then, because reckoning is such a powerful word, powerful term. I want to see, is there a reckoning in your life for each sign? And I'm just going to call up the definition of the word reckoning before I get going, just in case I haven't done it justice. All right. So here it says, the action or process of calculating or estimating something. Okay, so you can be reckoning, the books, but it's not about that. A person's opinion or judgment by ancient reckoning, bacteria or plants. Okay, system of reason, or archaic, which is more. It's a bill or account or a settlement. Yeah. Well, this is basically saying calculations, but I want a better. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is more of a biblical definition, but this is more the context we mean. Reckoning is a biblical term that is significant for understanding the believer's righteous standing before God. To reckon is to acknowledge that something is true on the basis of established facts. And God reckons people righteous on the basis of his grace and their faith. So the reckoning is, the question for our signs is there a personal reckoning going on for you? Meaning you're standing before God with your truth. You're standing by yourself with whatever facts. You know something is true. And therefore, it's aligned with God or with spirit. And you move forward on that level. Heavy stuff, I know. It's Moon and Scorpio. All right, Aries. And you might not be at a, the cards might say, no, you're not really in a reckoning period. Not everyone's going through this. Okay, so let's just see for Aries, is there a reckoning in your life? So you've got the Eight of Cups, Saturn in Pisces. This to me feels more like, because this card says indolence. And it's basically a card where people sort of can really completely let go of themselves or give up emotionally and give in to despair. And so the reckoning here would be, if there is one, it would be with yourself. If you're feeling on the verge of some sort of giving up or despair, the way out of that would be to get in touch with your, again, things that have happened to you, the reasons why you are where you're at, the reasons why you made the decisions that you have, even if they've led you to a place you don't like. That would be the reckoning. It would be like facing yourself and being true, being honest with yourself. So it's not really with others or with God just yet. It's really being honest with yourself. Taurus, do you have any kind of reckoning? I've got the Empress. Doesn't feel like it to me. It feels, Taurus, you're pretty good right now. I think you've already gone through your, feels like many of you've already gone through it because Uranus has been sweeping through your sign for several years here. So perhaps if you're born towards the end of the Taurus sign, meaning now, like mid-May, late to late May, you might still be, Uranus might be rocking and shaking your world enough that you've had to question a lot of things. But for a lot of Taurus, I get a feeling, no, you've already gone through it. It's a nicer period for you, where it seems like things are more peaceful, and you've made your peace with whatever's true for you already. So I think things get better for you. All right, Gemini, is there any kind of reckoning in your life? That'd be a big yes. Five of Cups is disappointment, emotional disappointment. Yeah, I would say definitely for you. I feel it's definitely time for you to come out and talk about something that has been hurting you for years, that hurt you, disappointed you, mistreated you, that you've been hanging on to that pain for too long. So you might very well be ripe to say it to a therapist or even to confront the source. Yeah, I get a really strong yes for you. It's overdue, Gemini. Cancers, do you have any kind of reckoning needed? Oi. Yes. The Emperor. Yes. Yes. This is to do with men. This is to do with patriarchy, authority, father figures, grandfather figures, controlling men. Yes. It's interesting because Canada and the US are both cancers. But we're not talking about that. We'll talk about personal. So Cancer, yeah, there is a reckoning to be made with men or with your father. So there might be things you need to say or tell people about to clear the air with that relation so that you can basically move forward and not be afraid of your own power. Because if there's an issue with authority or with your father, you might shy away from taking your full power because you don't want to be like him. You don't want to misuse it, like maybe it was misused against you. But you also pay a price for not stepping into your own power, not going as far in life as you could have, or not letting people in, including other men if you're single, or just allowing yourself to be helped, that there are good men out there too. Of course there are. So yeah, there is a reckoning to do with authority and with masculine energy. All right, Leos. Is there a reckoning for you? Ten of Swords. Yes, and it's about somebody that either lied to you or betrayed you. And this could be going back years, so it depends how far back do you want to go in terms of like whether it's worth bringing it up and saying it to them or confronting them. But you definitely need to process it. Write out the story, tell the whole story to someone that cares about you. Yeah, it's betrayal trauma. So I think there is a reckoning to call it what it was, to stop. Maybe if you're looping in your head, oh, did they really? Maybe it wasn't that bad. No, the reckoning is like, this person lied, this person betrayed me. So that you can fully let go of that energy in your body now. And you can let go of that story and the layers that come with that in your life. You can start to release. So yes, Leo's is a yes. Virgos, is there a reckoning in your life? Seven of Wands. Yes, but it's with work. It's with workmates and co-workers. It's with the way you're treated in your profession or at work. There might have been one story, some nightmare story in your work life, with your boss or a coworker. But I don't get a feeling that it's really about just one person or that you need to go and talk about that. Unless you're actively living your nightmare boss or coworker right now, then yes, you need to stand up. If it's one from the past, I feel not necessary, really. Again, you can write it out, you can tell the story of it, you can purge the emotion of it to help you. But it's more to ask yourself, where am I allowing disrespect in my profession or my work life right now, if you are? And just clean it up. It's boundaries with Mars and Leo. Just healthier boundaries so that people take you seriously and respect your work. Libras, do you have a reckoning? Two of Wands. Oh my God. Yes, you do. You're so angry. Wow. You are so angry at something or someone. Maybe it's many people, but yes, you have to stop holding in so much of this rage. This is at a level where it feels like it could come out very destructively if you're not careful. But yet it has to come out. So to me, a good way to start that would be to write letters that you do not send. You write them and you burn them, because you're just getting some of the huff and puff out of your system before you actually talk or decide if you will say something. But yeah, you are beyond angry. So there is a reckoning that needs to happen. And you need to say something. Stop pleasing or suppressing and say something. Yeah, wow. There's a monster inside you, Libra. There's a dragon wants to come out. All right, Scorpios, could be an intense full moon for you. Let's see. Is there a reckoning that needs to happen for Scorpios? Seven of Discs. I feel a yes, but it's more inward. It's more for yourself. I don't see you walking around spilling your beans to people or confronting about. No. This is very deep inward reflection, and the card says failure on it. Saturn and Taurus. Am I, did I fail? Am I worthy? Only thing where there could be reckoning is on a financial level. If there's been any screwy stuff that's gone on financially that needs to be addressed, cleaned up, changed, stopped, ask for your money back. If there's anything on a financial level. Otherwise, it feels more like a really tender moment to yourself. And I feel like it's actually in the opposite. It's not like you've been avoiding and not seeing who you are and what you're like. It's more like you're way too hard on yourself. Way too hard on yourself. So it's about sitting quietly and really believing that you are a good person and you didn't fail. So I don't know how far that's bringing you back in your life, but it feels like an old thing coming back. Sagittarius, is there a reckoning for you? Prince of Discs, interesting. I get a wishy-washy feeling. This is a guy who's usually sort of just pleasure seeking and not super reliable, doesn't follow through. So if that's somebody around you who's chronically been disappointing to you, just never shows up, doesn't step up, doesn't apologize, can't count on them, nothing, like it's the kind of person, if they're still in your life over and over, it's like a sequence of many disappointments, maybe not one huge one, clearly, but like many, many, many. That's why I get the wishy-washy, because it's not like you can call out one thing. It's like, well, you were late last week. So, yeah, but you're late all the time for years without apologizing or fixing it. That's the scenario. It's something dragging on like that. So you might need to have a moment of truth with that person. You might, and if this perchance is you not following through, then that's your reckoning there. You have to get honest with yourself. If it's you, or if it's the person you're dealing with, they'd have to get honest with themselves. Why? Chronically sort of half-assed about everything? Why am I chronically just sort of seeking distraction and pleasure versus applying myself? You know, why am I not reliable? So that's either for the person around you or it's for you to ask yourself. Capricorns, is there a reckoning in your life? Six of Cups. Not really. No. No, you've gone through your Pluto transit, man. You've done your shadow work. Doesn't mean it's done for life, but you've basically done it. I mean, yeah, I know. I think life's a lot clearer for you and things are more in order for you. And you're enjoying yourself more and you're better surrounded than you were before. So I don't really see a reckoning that's needed for you. That's a nice thing to know, eh? Nice. Aquarius, what about you? Aquarius, is there a reckoning in your life? Wheel of Fortune. Again, not really. I don't know. I don't think that's the chapter you're in where you're doing that level of work. I get a feeling of doors opening and opportunities coming for you. And I hope that whatever that is, that you'll walk through the door, you know, that you will say yes to some of these new interesting opportunities or people that are coming into your life. So no, you're not in a reckoning. And Pisces, is there a reckoning in your life? Prince of Swords. Definitely there's somebody. And it's somebody that's mentally not doing so well. They're either always anxious or scattered or confused. And their life's really a mess. And they really need to clean up their lives and their minds. Too many threads everywhere that are just dangling, whether that's like promises that didn't follow through, people that they've opened the door to and don't know where it's going, jobs that fell through, courses that weren't quite completed. There's just so many dangling things undone and unclear in this person's mind. Now, if they're around you and you're trying to help them or save them, well, this person might need more help than just you. If it is perhaps you, the reckoning again is with yourself. And again, it feels like this person needs more help than just doing it by themselves. You know, we all need periods of time where we need coaches or counselors or therapists or massage therapy, whatever. We need help. You know, this person is in enough mental agitation and turmoil for too long. And they need a clear, calm, steady person to help start to put the pieces in place and the decisions and the clearing, the untangling of their life can begin. Yeah. All right. Well, that was quite the reading. If you want to contact me for your own personal private session, please do. My email is down below. And please join the Intuition Cafe so you can come and be stimulated to trust yourself even more. I hope you have a good and productive and healing full moon.